And then you can make
Tuna cakes?
croquettes out of it.
Ooh, that's the fancy word.
Yeah,
Yes,
croquettes.
croquettes. There's
I
lots.
always thought it was a game you play out in the yard, Croquettes, croquet.
I heard people pronounce croquet, croaky.
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 We'll get into some enunciations later, too.
That's right.
We're waiting for it.
Gdayall, and welcome to episode 77, Cheap Eats.
Wow.
Well,
we like cheap eats.
We do like cheap eats, and this is one of those.
Always makes you feel good when you eat something cheap.
Well, do you know what? I got a coffee on the way home, and it was free, so it tasted better.
Oh.
I knew I had a free one up my sleeve. So that's one of those things we're going to talk about. And often we discuss this anyway, because we talk about growing up, and sometimes we had I think I discussed with my children, Sean and I, how much cinnamon toast we had. That was our cheap snack when we were kids. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say, a couple of weeks ago, Shane Wan passed away. And we were away and we were looking through the paper the next day and they had his last meal. Yeah. And it made us think of with his mate, he was sitting there having a couple of pieces of Vegemite toast and loving it and said, there's nothing tastes like it no matter where you are in the world. And I thought that was very fitting for him. He's just sort of as Aussie as you can get.
Yes.
And
real character.
He absolutely was. And it was sad to see him pass so early. So this time it's a little bit crazy. Petrol prices are going up. That's it. Mm-hmm. Grocery prices are going up, and we thought this would be a good time to talk about cheap eats. School's back in full swing, and all of us are running around again, although not me. I'm retired from that. And it's really easy to fall back on takeaway or Uber Eats, which
and
I do
watch
like.
your money slip through your fingers.
It goes straight through because you think that's only $15, and then you get but then it's $6.99 or $5.99 for delivery, and you're like, well,
somebody's got to pay for those guys.
Yes, that's true. So now, do you have a cheap meal that's your fallback?
I don't. I got a lot of cheap meals. I'm like sometimes I was told that I make screws look like a spendthrift. So.
I'm not commenting.
I take nickels out of my pocket like manhole covers, So I got quite a bit of cheap meals that we'll get to.
Yes.
In the coming things. So not one in particular. I don't have anything that's like outstanding cheap because, to me it's a challenge.
Well, yeah, it's sort of like what was it with when the chef would come to your house and he'd open the fridge and the pantry and just cook what was in it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I like doing that. So
Stavros,
and then I think probably the ultimate cheap meal is.
Tell me.
Is making your leftovers into a new meal because the leftovers you already paid for those and ate it.
So they're free.
I mean, we could go, bin dipping or whatever they call that.
Dumpster diving.
Dumpster dive. There was a show Jeanette was watching on like the History Channel or something like that. Of all these people, that's what they did for a living. They went dumpster diving and they filmed it. It's like one of the reality shows.
Yes, I think there's one. It's like outrageous penny pinchers or something, or extreme penny pinching, and it was just like I only flush the toilet every 2 days to save on water. I'm like, that might be taking it a little bit.
Well, that's like when I lived in New York and there was the water crisis. That doesn't go back many years ago, and Ed Koch was the mayor, and he used to have a saying. If it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow, let it mellow. Good old like Koch.
Which is also a good quote from Meet the Fockers or Meet the Parents.
And his signs are still up in New York. Like the signs like where not to park. It has don't even think about parking here. Really, and that was from him.
Well, I believe that because I remember seeing him being the judge on People's Court. I didn't see him too much as the mayor. Okay, so back to the show.
Okay.
Today's show, we're going to talk about some ingredients to use for some cheap meal ideas, tips to save on money and food. For example, like different cuts of meat, checking out the discount section, using leftover food, as you said, for future meals. And I even looked up some tips from the Great Depression.
Whoa.
Which
we might be going back to.
Well, yes. But Hoover stew.
Hoovers.
Hoover, like President Hoover.
Yeah.
It was
not like the vacuum cleaner. That'd be an interesting stew.
The Hoover stew was like basically hot dog stew because hot dog was the cheapest meat.
Yeah, good old what they call them, tube steaks.
I can't get over that.
All right, let's go to the fun facts.
Yes,
so, fun
please.
facts number 1 is single Australians are forking out. Good thing I got that right.
Thank you.
Over on an average of $300 a week on food and takeaways. That's a lot of money.
It is.
Like food and takeaway, $300 a week.
Well,
I'd be totally fat.
Well, you get a coffee in the morning, there's $5.
Yeah.
You order Uber Eats for lunch, there's call it 15, 20, and same thing for dinner. And I'm getting a look from my child over there because that's what she does.
That's paying off a house, $1,200 a month.
Yeah. That's a lot of money. Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is not an editorial comment here, sir.
Okay. And number 2, so households, I guess that's the mom and pop and children.
Yeah.
They spend on the average of $150 a week on groceries.
Now, I find that's very, very
frugal.
Good shopping. Yeah. Now, can I read the next one? Because this is my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know why this was a statistic, but someone asked the question: couples with children over 15 spend the most on alcohol each week.
I wonder why. Yeah.
That was $47. Now, all these stats we're talking about.
Well, I'm under the curb on that one anyway.
Well, you just moved out, so you're just you can go back to the households.
Yeah.
Are a couple years old. Some are from 19 and 20. So things I'm sure have changed during the pandemic. But let's talk about when it was
maybe because
normal.
The kids drink a lot of the alcohol too. Where did it go? Evaporated. You left the bottle open. It's alcohol. It's just,
I know. They never look for that little line that you can draw there that they don't know about. And okay, so average Victorian, because that's where we are, household weekly items cost. People will spend, so it could be 1 or 2 of the items. So bread, about $7.16. Rice, $1.03.
Now this is 2 years ago because this has all gone up quite a bit.
Well, meat, $27.51. That would get me 2 meat meals, maybe. Yeah. Like if I got a roast, that'd be $20. Eggs, now that's $2.14. It says I don't get eggs under $3.50 usually.
You get free range in there.
That's right. And the stores now are it's harder to find things that aren't cage free or free range, which is all good. Dairy products, so $15.65. Fruit, $12.03. Veggies, $17.22. Condiments, so they're spending a lot on
ketchup.
Ketchup.
Mustard potatoes,
$26.49. Meals out and fast food,
$93.05. Yeah, and a total spend of just under $258.
That's right. So
now probably that's probably more like $350 or $400.
Well, easy. Like I went to the grocery store to pick up a few things to last a couple of days, and I actually, because I was looking at something else, I had sticker shock because she said that'll be $138. I'm like, wow. And then I went, oh, that was $10, and that was it.
Yeah, it adds up. You get out of Costco, right? And you have nothing in the basket, and it's like $282. What did I spend? Oh, well, that was $30, and that was $50. Bang, bang, bang.
Oh yeah, Costco. If I get out for under $100,
that's a good day.
That is a very good day. And this probably just came out with rotisserie chicken, and that's it.
That's one of the cheap eats.
We're getting to that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll take a break now and have something cheap like water to drink. And we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and now we're going to talk about some ingredients to use for some cheap meal ideas.
That is right. Now, the first thing I thought of is risotto or rice dishes.
Mm-hmm. Now, to make it cheap, you can't use the prepackaged microwave rice because that gets expensive.
That's
unless
right.
you buy it from Not Quite Right or something like that. But there's still more money than if you would just use rice in bulk.
Yeah. And
we talked about how easy it is to make.
Absolutely. I buy the store brand basmati or whatever it's going at the time and use that. One of the things, if you make a batch of rice for a meal. If you make a little extra, you can also have some for fried rice the next day if you want. I love torta, so it's sort of like a quiche with rice through it. So that was, I don't know where that's from in Italy, but that was an Italian dish we used to have at home.
Oh, I never had that. This is a different part of Italy.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like you put artichoke hearts or zucchini, or you can kind of go, that's one of those things you can go through the crisper or the rotter.
Yeah.
And find something and then just saute it down.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't have fur on it, you can throw it in. Yeah.
So basically you put rice in, whatever veggies, and enough eggs to cover it, and it's lovely.
No, I remember my mother, you have here rice pudding. I remember she used to make rice pudding for us, leftover rice after dinner, and just very simple. She put vanilla, which like now costs a fortune, sugar, cinnamon, and milk, and just mixed it up. There's your rice pudding. Yeah, enjoy. And I used to love it as a kid. Yeah.
I used to remember asking that. Can I put milk and sugar on it after dinner? Yes. And
so there you go. So there's like stretching, like make a little extra because it doesn't cost much to make rice. And just keep it on the side for something else.
And that's it. And you can still cook nicely. So if you want like a mushroom risotto or whatever veggies that you have going, you can do that.
And if you have it just plain and left over, put it into a little, plastic container that's microwave proof. Throw a little olive oil on it or butter or something to keep it moist and not sticking together unless you like sticky rice. And then you could reheat it tomorrow. Just like 30 seconds in the microwave, and it heats back up again, and it tastes a lot better than the other stuff that's already pre-cooked.
With the like with the risotto, you could do arancini balls the next day too.
Yeah.
So that's just adding breadcrumbs. Have you done this in the air fryer yet?
Yeah.
And how do they go?
You really got to compress them, and you got to put like make sure the outside coating is on, so the breadcrumbs and the cheese and all that. That's really good, and then I spray it with the spray oil,
right?
To coat it, and then I put it in there, and then make sure you keep on turning because it seems like every once in a while one of them will stick to the bottom. So you got to give that bottom a good spray too.
Now the next ingredient I was thinking of, and people are a bit afraid of this if they're not canned, but beans.
But even canned beans are
they can throw this in. Well, depending.
Yeah, listen, you can still save for like under 70 cents a can of kidney beans or chickpeas.
Yeah,
and they're real good for you. I mean, and if you have a pressure cooker sitting up in the closet, that's an easy way to make your beans in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to. So usually you would soak them the night before and then cook the next day, but you can do it last minute if you want. And, there's things like, cowboy beans, there's chili. Where I come from, there's Portuguese beans, which are yummy. Bean soup, rice and beans. There's just a plethora of things you can do with them.
Beans with everything. Beans with pasta and beans with, we'll get to those things too, except for beans for breakfast. Well, the Australians have beans for breakfast.
They do.
How awful. Sorry. How could you have pork and beans and pancakes? Well, they don't have pancakes for breakfast neither.
That's right. It's like a sweet thing. Oh, well, but listen, there's another homage to Shane Wan. He had to have his baked beans sent to, was it India or Pakistan when he was playing?
There's nothing else sweet there.
Now, another idea is breakfast for dinner.
Breakfast for dinner. Yeah, eggs.
Eggs, making pancakes. That's just flour, milk, and an egg. So you usually have those things hanging around.
Yeah, and the other thing, just eggs in general, can be very cheap to make, and you make potatoes and eggs. My father used to do that. Just fry up potatoes, just slice them thin and fry them up, and then you mix up, batter up your eggs and throw it in, and it's like a big omelet. And you could do that with peppers and onions. That's another Italian thing. And they put some cheese as you're mixing your egg up, put some grated Parmesan or something in there, and that gives it more flavor, some parsley. And
while we're talking about adding cheese, because sometimes that can be an expensive ingredient, you save, like, it feels like it hurts to do it, but you save so much money getting a block of solid cheese and just bring it home and grate it all at once. You can stick it in Ziplocs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know the convenience is great. I fall for it and I get it, but it's, it doesn't have to be that expensive all the time.
Yeah, but I buy usually we buy the pepperoncino. I like that or the Romano more than the others. And we got this cheese grater that's like about 30 years old. A Zeiss cheese grater,
Oh yeah.
And it has a little windy thing on it, and that little capsule thing, and you put it in there, put your hand over it, and you wind it. You have fresh cheese all the time.
I get in trouble at the restaurant though, because when they come
over,
yeah,
don't stop, right?
I never. They're looking at me like, when do I stop?
Yeah,
I'm like, never.
Like my friend Larry, we used to go to the restaurant, and the guy comes over with the big,
pepper
mill. The poor guy's like, I was falling off. Is that enough yet?
Keep it coming. Now, also with that, you can do some waffles. Toast, like we were talking about, cinnamon toast, because that is a fallback from my childhood too.
Yeah. Oh, that was so simple. That was before we buying. Oh, we got to buy cinnamon bread or whatever. Raisin bread. It was, it was just plain white bread, and it just said your mother put butter on it, smeared it on, and then some sugar and sugar. That was it. It's so tasty. Even now, it's so good.
I know. Actually, I could go for a piece now.
But the other thing is also, like, if you're making pancakes, just make a big batch of them and you freeze them.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah, and then put them in the toaster or the microwave.
Yeah, I used to do like half plain and then half with cheese, and occasionally we do the savory one.
Yeah.
Now the other idea is good old 2-minute noodles. So pimped up top ramen.
Pimped up top ramen. That's I was reading some cheap recipes, and somehow or another I got lost going, and came up with like prison food, and that's like a big thing in prison is ramen. They make ramen bricks and ramen pizza. It's like a whole cookbook on.
I saw there's a thing on Netflix at the moment, and the character is in prison. It's Inventing Anna.
Yeah.
And she's got all these like noodle cups, and she's buying everyone's phone time from them. She's just passing out. She's using all the money to buy 2-minute noodles.
Oh, I got some more stories about that later on.
Okay. And so you can add an egg. You can put leftover meat in it. You can add veggies, all that sort of stuff. So it doesn't have to be just that, or, I have used just the noodles and used that with spaghetti sauce if I've had.
Now we get into my favorite cheap food.
Yes.
Pasta.
I'm going to leave it all up to you.
Yeah, like macaroni, pasta, whatever you want to call it, So it's so easy. First of all, it's so cheap because, one, if you want to go to the extreme, you got time, you can make it yourself, and you can watch Jamie make it on TV all the time, and he makes it looks like so easy to make when he does it with the nanas. And but still, you can still buy 500 grams of pasta for 69 cents sometimes, or less than $1. And that makes quite a bit. And then I don't understand why people buy pasta sauce. Like
it's not
already
difficult
made.
To make. Yeah.
It's so easy to make, and it's so basic. So either you buy a tin of tomatoes, and if it's whole ones, you just add your flavoring in. So the basic flavoring is, some salt, some pepper, parsley, or basil, or both, oregano. Or oregano.
No, it's oregano in this house.
I know. Thank you. And and some garlic, and then whatever else you like to throw into it, to flavor it. But that's your basic ingredient. Just cook it down a little bit, and you're all done.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's so simple, and that probably will feed a family for less than $3.
Yeah, easy.
No matter what you throw into it.
That's exactly right.
Less than $3.
Sometimes we just like the Lowry's garlic salt butter and that.
Well, I use my favorite thing in making everything now, which is celery salt.
Yes, that would be
lovely. Because I think really that gives it a nicer taste to it. It tastes like you're eating. Yeah.
Absolutely.
More fresh. It tastes like a freshness thing. And so you got here tuna, like I guess you would throw tuna in as your protein.
Yeah.
So if you want to make a cheap linguine and clam sauce, where you skip the clams,
just skip the tuna,
and just throw the tuna in. Do it the same way. So basically, you're making aglio olio, which is oil and garlic.
Yep.
A little bit of parsley, some cracked pepper, and throw drain a can of, and don't buy I hate buys the tuna in spring water. I'm not on a diet. I grew up eating tuna in oil.
Yes.
Okay, or buy the Italian one, which costs a little bit more than olive oil. And just drain a little bit and don't even drain it. Just throw it into your pasta. Yeah. And as you're, you could even drain your pasta, okay, if you really want to be quick. Throw a dab of butter into it after you drain it, back into the same pot you cooked it in. Yep. So it's still hot. Your olive oil, and then your other ingredients, throw it all in, put the flame back on, stir it around.
That's it.
You're done. Okay, next. Okay.
Well, our favorite, or my favorite, cauliflower and some breadcrumbs. So cauliflower and sand.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you puree your cauliflower?
No. So what I'll do is I'll chop it up into small florets, and I will, the last few minutes of the pasta cooking, I'll throw those in.
Yep.
And so then I empty everything together, steal a little bit of pasta water, keep that to the side, put olive oil and garlic and breadcrumbs and stir it all through. It back in the pot, same thing.
I think I told you my aunts made that one time, but they cooked it all down and then they mashed it.
That would be,
make it like a creamy sauce.
That would be very nice, and actually.
Then the other thing is, my mother used to make this pasta fazool.
Oh, so there's beans.
Beans. And she used to shell macaroni,
right?
Onions, and then the pasta, and then she watered it down enough, and then flavored with the oregano primarily, and where it was soupy.
Oh.
And you ate, and then the peas were in it also, green peas,
nice.
and it was just so good to eat, and grated cheese over it. And I got one last thing here. Okay, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Right. So we had company over. I made pulled pork, or Jeanette made pulled pork. And we used that Campbell's one.
Oh, is that good?
It's really tasty.
Okay.
All right. So she did that, and we had leftover. Okay. So I said, I'll have pasta tonight because I had some passata left over that I mixed up for making pizza gravy.
Yep.
And so I cooked up the pasta. I mixed some of the meat into with the pasta sauce.
Nice.
And it was like my own bolognese or whatever. It's like this was really good. So again, just look in the closet, in the fridge. What's in there that he ate before, and what else could I mix it with? Especially with pasta.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that all sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, the next one doesn't sound as appetizing, but yes, here we go. But sausages, good old snacks.
But sausages are expensive now.
Well, yeah, depending.
I think they're out of the ballpark.
That's right. So if I am really watching my pennies, so I'll get
it's good for flavoring too, because there's a lot of flavor in using just a little.
Yeah, and you can take it out of the casings and chop it up and mix it with mince or whatever else you have. But like sausages and peppers, if I see sausages on special, because as we'll talk later, if I hit the discount section, markdown's great, stick them straight in the freezer, use them again, and I'll make like a really nice gravy to go with that, and then we'll either have mashed potatoes or
bangers and mash.
That's it. That is
my Aunt Nina over here used to make bangers and mash. Oh, it was just so good. That brown gravy with mash.
And, everything's good, and sometimes I'll make the onions to go with it.
Sausage and bean soup, that's so good. Oh.
See?
Yeah.
You got your bean soup left over from up above, and then get some sausages, and there's a whole new meal.
Just keep on putting it together. It's like a sourdough.
That's right. It never ends. Growing.
It just keeps on growing. Yeah.
And sausages and eggs. Now, I did that the other night because Monday night we had some new chorizo in at work. So the Mexican chorizo looking, that style, I took that home, took it out of the casings, just 2 sausages out of a pack of 4, right? And fried that and put scrambled eggs through it, and it was magnificent.
Well, even just getting, red and green peppers, whichever available. To me, once you close your eyes, you don't know if it's green, red, or yellow.
That's right.
Except for the price tag. So, and just slice them up, and onions and some olive oil, and just do it in a pan and cook them down.
Yep.
And then throw your sausages into it, and then put it on some crusty bread.
Oh,
I mean, that's from the San Gennaro Festival,
If anyone can hear my stomach growl, that will be because of this. Now,
the other thing which we don't have here, I'll just cut
tell me.
Again,
no, this is for you to jump in.
Is pizza. Pizza is cheap. If you make it at home, again, everybody knows now that's my new hobby is.
Actually, we have it down
here. Oh, we
do
it on the bottom.
But just go for it now.
I'm going for it.
Go for it. I left it empty.
But flour is still inexpensive.
That's exactly right.
Okay. And you can use, bread flour, or if you spend a little bit more, you double zero flour. The recipes are all over the internet. There are a lot of great recipes. Very simple. It's flour, yeast, salt, which is like nothing.
Yeah.
Like a tablespoon of salt, tablespoon of sugar. Mix it all together. Let it sit. Put it in the blender or hand mix it. Let it rise. Bring it down. Let it rise. Bring it down. Put it in the fridge and use it the next day. You're all done. And then form it into whatever shape you like for a pizza. It doesn't have to be round, square, oblong, or it looks like the map of Gibraltar or something like
rustic.
that.
That's what they say. Rustic. That's right.
Yeah, into a very hot oven, or even on your barbecue.
Oh, yeah, it's a good idea because you can get that nice and hot. If you
could do a stone or something like that, or a piece of metal, or even just a cast iron skillet.
Yeah, well, that's true because we were talking about that before.
And you have pizza at home, and the kids will love it, and it's inexpensive.
Yep.
Yeah, won't cost you a fortune.
And usually,
the most expensive thing will be the cheese.
Yeah, that's true. And when I would make a big, like I'd make almost like a half of a sheet pan, like that sort of. There'd always be some the next day for someone's lunch. Yeah. Would someone would take it to school, work, or whatever.
And the other thing you could do is make a calzone.
That is true. Okay, I've never made that.
Using that dough, so you just do it and make it look like stuff it with, ricotta and mozzarella or sausages and whatever you got, ham or now they put everything in it.
I think you should try some out on work.
We should.
Us. Yes.
Yeah, just reminded me of something else Tell me. Just forgot what it was now, and I thought about it and
it'll come back. I bet.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's see baked potatoes. So potatoes are not overly expensive.
Nope.
And then you just we do this sometimes. I actually, if I'm in a hurry, I'll put them in the microwave for a few minutes just to
put it into
soften them, and then put them in the oven
too. Yep.
And so then you get the crunchy skin, but it doesn't take forever.
But you need sour cream.
Oh God,
I love sour cream on.
Sour cream, bacon bits, chives.
Oh, you go the whole.
Steakhouse, or we do things like let's do leftover nachos, leftover
Irish nachos. That's what they are, Irish nachos. Well, they use those
tater tots.
Tater tots.
They're called tachos. But pretty much anything you have that you can repurpose that way.
Yeah,
and it needs garlic no matter what it is. There was a good sign in my house if I had heartache, it would be a pot of mashed potatoes. That would be that.
Mashed potatoes is also, like you're talking about potatoes. So mashing potatoes is only one step away from making potato soup.
That is true.
And then you can use instant potatoes, which are not expensive. Even in our store, we get the Ohio brands and stuff.
Yep.
That big box goes a long way.
Oh, absolutely.
And you could use it as another cheap thing. If you're doing a stew or whatever, you need to, and if it comes out too watery, you could thicken it up with that.
Yep.
Okay. You can make it into a potato pancake and fry it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you can mix that with a can of salmon or tuna. Yeah. If that's in the cupboard, make little, Yeah,
and then you can make croquettes out of it.
Oh, that's the fancy word.
Yeah,
yes, croquettes.
There's lots. I always thought it was a game you play out in the yard, Croquettes, croquet.
I heard people pronounce croquet. Yeah. Croaky.
We get into some enunciations later too.
That's right.
So we're waiting for it. And now we got taco night.
And one of those things we brought up with taco night, we've got one of the new products we have at work, but there's a whole Mexican line. So you can either do it yourself or you can get something that has, this is a simmer sauce with chipotle and garlic. So you can do, that's quick in the cupboard, but you can just do fish tacos. I have seen that done with fish sticks.
Oh, so fish sticks.
Yes.
Mrs. Paul's frozen fish
sticks. I'm cleaning out the fridge.
Yeah.
It's poverty evening. So we are doing fish tacos with, why not?
And it's so easy. Just got to get the pan really hot and throw the fish in there and just keep on breaking it up.
Yeah.
Spatula and stuff. And then throw what you like in it.
Oh, yeah.
And lime. You can need lime or lemon juice
and
on
mayo,
it.
Or
and good salsa. You need good tangy salsa.
Yes. That makes everything work.
Yes.
And when we're doing minced meat tacos or minced chicken, when the kids were little, we would I had this Tupperware container that has all these little, it's like one of those, it's been around forever. It's like, an hors d'oeuvre thing. It's got all these little pockets. And I would put, shredded cheese, shredded lettuce, red onions, and tomatoes, and then the meat, and then some taco sauce and some sour cream and some guacamole, and everyone could go around and just do it.
Just help yourself. Yeah, mix it yourself.
And makes a mess because it takes so long. But
if you go to tacos, you go to the next extreme, which is enchiladas.
Yes. Everything.
And then could we call it
Chimichangas.
Chimichangas.
No,
please?
so that would be the burrito,
That's a
that we
burrito night.
fry.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil.
Yes.
Chimichangas in the air fryer. Would that work?
Ooh, why not?
We should try. Do we have any burritos at work? We should try that. Mac, the good old fashioned.
Yeah, mac and cheese.
Cheap meal.
Yeah. Again, the most expensive part of it is the cheese, not the mac.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And even the boxed dinners are cheap or are on sale.
Yeah.
So it's handy to have around, and a pasta base, but this would be one of our, prepackaged sort of things.
Yeah.
But that was one of those things that was a good after school treat that you learned how to make, and it wasn't too dangerous with touching the stove. And also you can make it yourself with white sauce and some cheese, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
It's easy. Yeah. But people are scared of a lot of things.
I know.
They're scared of making rice, scared of making a white sauce, scared of making cheese sauce, scared of beans.
I'm scared. I'm still scared of a few things, but not too many. Like fish scares me. It still scares me. Now I found this. It was so funny because it just looked very 1950s.
Yeah.
It's called hay and straw, and it was pasta, so linguine, and then it had sliced ham. Oh. So there's the hay and the straw.
There you go.
And then it had peas in it, though. Brendan would not have that.
Well, the peas make it healthy. You could put chopped up broccoli in it.
You could.
Or spinach.
Anything like that. So there is now. So you've got leftover ham from your lunches. You've got, you've got your pasta in the cupboard, which
peas are in the freezer.
That's it. There's always peas in the freezer. Even if you don't eat them, there's peas in the freezer if you hurt yourself.
Yeah. They come out like a big stone.
Drop them from a great height.
And now we go to Supa.
So
soup for they.
There's canned soup.
Yeah, but canned soup is expensive. But the thing with canned soup is it's not very healthy for you because the amount of sodium. Even the low sodium one still has quite a bit of sodium in. But it's like what you got left over, like bones and stuff. Like if it's meat bones or chicken carcass, just cook the blank out of it. And
that's right.
And with some root vegetables into it, and you got your
a great broth,
great broth,
or stock.
And then you can throw your beans, you can throw chicken in it, you can throw veggies in it, whatever. Potato and leek soup. We just talked about how easy it is to go from mashed potatoes, just adding more liquid into it. It's like your chicken stock, maybe some cream if you want.
Yep.
And just till it comes out to the consistency of soup. I mean, you might have to blend it up a little bit.
That's all right. We've all got something to blend something with.
And then there's always pea soup. Anybody can make pea soup.
Yes, I love pea soup.
And that's so easy too. And that's no mystery to that. And we're getting into the winter months. And pea soup, I like it really where you put the spoon in, it doesn't fall over.
Yeah, I like it standing up.
Yeah.
But you can, that's another thing that is often cheap in the deli section. If you don't see it in the meat section, a ham hock.
Yeah.
Right? Or bacon buns.
Well, even if you just want to make a vegetarian, you don't even need that. And it still comes out great. And just chop up some things to give it some firmness, like chop carrots into it. Yep. Carrots are cheap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Minestrone. That is, just your veggies and again, pasta.
Yeah. Into a soupy base.
That's beautiful. And look, I have used canned soups like tomato soup or depending what's on special as well as a base and then just add to it. Different times.
Okay. So now let's go into how to save money on food, like with different cuts of meat.
It's a good trick.
Yeah. Like we're just saying that, okay, we did a pulled pork. And pulled pork, that again, people, do not be scared of the pulled pork. Okay, it is simple to make. You cannot kill it. You can't overcook it.
No. And if someone tries to sell you a pork brisket, don't buy it.
Yeah. But when you go to wherever, to the butcher, the supermarket, the Tasman Meats or whatever, and Tasman Meats is good to buy things like that because they always have specials. Just buy the cheapest big chunk of pork you can buy, fresh pork.
Absolutely.
You might have to skin some of the fat off of it or whatever and put it into a slow cooker.
And walk away.
Just put some seasoning on it. You don't have to buy a packet like we bought the Campbell's packet. Just some seasonings that it's going to taste good. And it could be some leftover barbecue sauce, some little bit, and it will get its own moisture anyway. put it on there, let it slow cook for a few hours, and you know when it's done when you could get 2 forks and pull it apart easily. That's when it's cooked.
So nice.
Yeah, and if you miscalculate on, you cook it an extra hour, ain't gonna make any difference.
Nah, that's right. You cannot kill it. Now I'd fall back on chicken thighs and drumsticks.
Yeah,
and
I like the thighs better than white meat.
I do too. It's taken me a while to convince some of the family.
Yeah.
But and I will get what's actually cheaper is get it on the bone sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Chicken wings, I'll do little drumettes. But I always, again, I often see that in the discount section because people won't.
Oh, they don't buy it.
They don't buy it.
Yeah.
So, and a big bag of wings or chicken X, which Cooper used to eat.
I could tell you the cheapest place to get chicken wings, Sunrise Chicken.
Yes.
Okay. On it's near Marriott Waters.
Okay.
Okay, near Cranbourne.
Yeah.
And across the street from Marriott Waters, where Aldi is, and Safeway. And it's like it's a chicken farm, and they sell chicken. It's a little bit of other stuff in there, but mostly all chicken. And then they got chicken for your pets. And one of them is always, I don't know how they break all these wings, but they're broken wings.
Oh.
And most of them, they're all fresh. There's nothing wrong with them. Just that, one limb might be broken or something. Big deal. And it's $1.50 a kilo or something like that.
Oh.
Like 10 kilos for $15. So if you made them for people, they wouldn't know that the wings are broken.
No, they would not, because you break them anyway, and I separate into the drums and the other bit. And Ralphie, I couldn't give it to Ralphie because he would try to bury it in my couch.
Oh.
He's not very good at that. And great to make chicken stock.
Yeah.
Like just a whole pot
And they have
of that.
the carcasses there and everything.
Chicken feet.
And really cheap too.
Yeah. That's a bit challenging.
I don't remember ever seeing chicken feet there, but they got all the livers and the gizzards and stuff like that. And the carcasses.
Chicken livers. I love that. I was making stock one time and I had a whole bunch of chicken feet. Yeah. And when you looked at the top of the crock pot, it looks sort of like this scene from Titanic where they're in the car. It's like these hands.
Let me out. Let me out.
Yes. Yeah. Now, ground meat.
Yeah.
Or chopped meat.
The ground round. Remember the ground round?
I remember saying ground round. And then I remember I was like, I can't call it mince because that sounds funny here. Yeah, it took me a long time to.
I can't get over mince meat either.
I say ground.
And cold cuts.
Yeah.
We gotta have those. But anyway, ground meat. Even at Costco, their meat is expensive to me.
Yes. Okay? Oh no, it is.
It is. But their ground meat is $8.99. Well, it was last week $8.99 a kilo, but you got to buy like 5 kilos. But you just cut it up and put in freezer bags and put it in the freezer.
And if you
in proportion.
And that's another trick too. If you can do it, not everyone can get if you're on a tight budget, it's harder to get the bulk. But if you can do it, and when you can do it, I used to do that at Aldi too. And just some Ziploc bags or whatever, wrap it up, stick it in the freezer, and it's ready for the next time.
Yeah. And look, on a budget, sometimes you got to spend a little bit of money. But my thing, if people that have families or just looking to make their life simpler, is to buy one of those vacuum bag sealers.
Oh, yes.
Okay, because you don't get freezer burn. You could, like, if you're buying bulk stuff, and I do it all the time, I'll pre-cook a lot of things, put them in the bags, and they're ready. Like, especially like things like ribs or pork, or the things that take a long time to cook, already cooked. I do it all at once, bang, in the bags, in the freezer.
That's a great idea.
And make sure you mark them, because after a while, you
can't.
That?
What?
That
mystery
looks
meat.
like chicken, but it could be pork.
Let's defrost it and figure out what goes with it. And Aldi sells the bags as well at times. Yeah. So
and even on like that place where we got the chairs,
Hogan or Catch. No, My Deal.
My Deal.
Yeah.
I think I seen them as one of those things. The machine for $49.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so that you can do it.
And then you buy the bags. You can buy the bags at Aldi, and even Aldi twice a year they have the machine and the bags. In the store. So,
and that's and even sort of things like bacon. If you get a bulk batch of bacon, you just
and then you could even sous vide it, and even don't even have a sous vide. So if you cook something, put it in there. The only thing you have to do is boil a pot of water and get it down to a simmer, and then put that bag in there, because that bag will take that heat.
Oh, great!
Yeah. And then put it in there and cook it in the bag, and then you have no mess to clean up.
Oh, I love no mess.
Just throw the water out.
I love no mess. Now, also, one of those things, and I've never done it. This is one of those things I'm afraid of. Taking apart a chicken.
Taking apart a chicken. You need a chicken scissor.
Yes.
So you could buy those that, like that hard warehouse or home warehouse or
Yeah,
whatever. So, and that cuts right through the bones and everything. It's pretty easy. But there's plenty of things on YouTube how to disassemble a chicken.
I'm sure I could do it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things I thought it just always
It's not hard. Just cut into big pieces.
And I could butterfly one. I could take the backbone out and kind of flatten it, but not the rest of it.
But you need it's so much easier with that
the proper
poultry scissor.
Yeah. Now, another handy thing is to have in your freezer frozen veggies.
Yeah.
Because
no matter fruit too.
That's exactly right. Because no matter what's going on, go back to pasta. And see what's in the freezer.
And then also you take advantage of what's on sale. If you're buying fresh fruit or fresh vegetables, again, you get pre-cook them or whatever, and then put them in a bag and freeze them and then take them out when you want them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I even have I get some zucchini that's diced.
Yeah.
And I will throw that in everything. And it's a good way to sneak veggies in if anyone's needing to do that as well.
Yeah.
Not that I have to worry
too
much.
And here, check out the discount section.
I love
now, according to Sean,
discount. Yes.
Okay, there are so many people that come into our shop, and that's the first place they go over to the discount section. And it's not that anything's bad; it's just that it's past the better buy date, as they're changing the name in America because it's too much wasted food. But it's past the best buy, not the used buy. That's a totally different thing.
Absolutely,
best buy, and the best buy basically of all the things you read and it's on internet and everything else. If you ask. What's the name? That lady on the internet?
Alexa.
Alexa, yes. I don't want to wake your phone up. And if you ask or Google, hello Google, they'll tell you, okay, this is what the best buy date means, and basically means the manufacturer sets a date on the product when they think it has come to its peak of taste.
Yes.
And then from that point, it starts disintegrating, but not rapidly. It doesn't mean like, it's 12 o'clock and it goes out of date and it's 12:01. Oh,
it'll kill you. No, it's fine.
It's fine. And there's so much fluff built into that safety category. Even on the Best Buy that I being a spendthrift that I am, I went to the store, I bought milk the other day and it was like Paul's A2 milk or something like that. It was down like 2 liters for 98 cents. And Jeanette says, "Well, didn't you read that it expires today's date?
It'll be fine for another week."
It was.
Yeah, I know. That's one of my tricks.
Because of again the safety factor they build into those dates.
Absolutely. And if it was gone, the store would have tossed it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Well, they probably would have to toss it after that day because it is a use by date.
Well, remember trivia question to go back or in our shows. Laura Scudder, the chips. They're one of the first people that came up with the dates on their shelf-stable items. That's right, because people were wondering.
Yeah, they don't want it to go. But chips could go off.
They can get that rancid taste.
Yeah, that's awful.
Now, I find things like Sean laughs at me because we both shop. He goes, I see you shop in the same section because I'll carry my lunch in sometimes. And I've never tried that before.
That's a good way to try things.
Yep. And I go in and I'll buy, like if I have fish or salmon, like I'll do salmon portions or sausages. I find them there and all those things. And I'll just try to fill my freezer when I can. If I spend $10, I might get 8 or 9 things.
Yeah. And one of my favorite stores is Not Quite Right.
Yes. I missed. They used to have one in Gdayall.
There's one in Chelsea.
Yes.
That's your closest one here.
Yes.
And there's one by us, which is probably the nicest one. I've never seen, most of them that I've been to are pretty shabby looking inside. Like,
I think that's part of the appeal.
But the new one near us in Cranbourne, it looks like it's nice. It's clean, all new proper freezers and fridges and stuff.
Ooh.
It's like, am I in the right store?
Now, one that I fall back on, and I remember Miss Paula Dean talking about it, rotisserie chicken. And I will get one. Sometimes you have to fight the other parents on basketball night.
Yeah.
Because people walk in and will grab that and a thing of coleslaw and there's a quick dinner.
Yeah.
Get some rolls.
And especially if you go to Costco, it's a lost leader.
Oh, yes. They cannot make any money on that.
They don't make, and in America, we mentioned it once before, they start buying up chicken farms that they own because just to reduce the cost.
such power behind that. But with the rotisserie chicken, I have made things like enchiladas, chicken salad.
Yeah.
I mean, you got some. Sometimes I'll have. We're not big celery eaters, but I'll have it for a recipe, and there's some celery. I was like, oh, something crunchy. I can make a chicken salad.
Yeah.
Casseroles with the chicken, pasta again, sandwiches.
Yeah. Endless.
Absolutely. It just keeps giving.
Yes.
And using the bones to make broth as well.
Just keep on giving. Yeah.
And again, we talked about no waste, and you mentioned this before about homemade stock, just what's in the cupboard. I will, if I'm being very good, and I have a new freezer now, so I might be, I'll get a big Ziploc bag. I'll start, and when all the ends, tops, and tails of things that I've trimmed, the end of the leek or whatever, I stick into that bag over time, and then I'll use that on a day I'm making stock.
Unless you have a dog.
Yes.
A big dog.
Big dog, yes. Ralphie can't, I can still get ahead of him.
Yeah, but that's what freezers are for.
That's exactly right. And if you have leftovers, and if you're not going to eat it during the week, you can just portion it up and stick that in the freezer, and that can be your lunch to take during the week, or it's just you that night and you feel like something to have, and you can dive in.
Okay, so a few more tips. Break out the old recipe book, and look for the cheap eats in there, like chicken and dumplings and stews and rice and beans.
Oh,
it's all in the books.
And it's great.
Any nationality, too. They all have, peasant food.
And that's the best food, isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely. Try to get the most out of your choices when you're cooking. So if you're buying, for a recipe in particular, like a bell pepper, and you're only going to use half of it, or a capsicum, excuse me.
Yeah.
I knew we're in friendly environs. Try to make sure you use that up that week so you don't have the crisper become a rotter. Just have a look and try to use everything. So at the end of the week, not only are you buying some, you have to buy more groceries, but you don't have to clean the sledge off the bottom of.
Ooh, I hate that.
I hate that too. So
I guess everybody goes through that. Yeah. So, and the easy way to save on money is to make the food yourself, of course, instead of going out, because it always costs you much more. But we need to support our restaurateurs out there.
We do.
But not all the time.
No. We need to save up the money to go out and have the nice meal.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that puts an end to this part of this segment. And we'll be right back. Time to do the old Hoover machine and housekeeping coming up. So the code for this month's of March is Madness, of course.
Excellent. And on the USA Foods website, you can click on the listener discount logo, or you can search that. And those are the items that have the listener discount on it.
Yep. And we're open 7 days a week.
We sure are.
Check the website for hours because they will be changing with daylight saving time.
That is correct. And you can subscribe to the podcast. You can share it, and you can engage with us at usafoods.com.au.
Okay, now we're coming up to the Sean Superstore Special. No code needed.
That is right. So 1 week only. So Wednesday, the 16th of March to Tuesday, the 22nd of March, we're going to have the traditional Progresso New England clam chowder, which is...
Oh, we're going to start eating it soon because it is getting cold.
It's chowder season.
Chowder.
So that's usually $10.49. It will be down to $8.49. The Grand Luchito...
And it's gluten-free. I'm just looking at it.
Is it?
Yes.
We have so many things that are like incidentally gluten-free.
Yes.
I love that.
It's gluten-free. Mm-hmm.
And the white one is the best one. The Manhattan one is bogus. Yep.
One Family Guy. That's ocean quahogs or quahog. What do they call them?
I don't know. What is this? Quahogs.
Yeah, clams.
I have never seen that before.
That's what they call them up in Maine.
Oh, well, this is maybe this is a collector's item can. Get in, fellas. No, so we've got this great new line. I talked about it a bit when we're talking about taco night, Gran Luchito, Mexican tinga taco simmer sauce, and it's chipotle and garlic, and it is
There's
lovely.
a Lonche Libre guy on there.
It is. So you can look for the Mexican wrestler.
Yeah.
Now that was $8.99. It's down to $7.99. Also, when you're on that page, if you look up Gran Luchito, you'll see a whole lot of different salsas and other things as well. And, we're talking about chicken wings.
Yep.
So, Louisiana wing sauce, the original. So, you can get a couple of those in your cupboard. So, it's 12 ounces. It was $5.99. It's down to $4. A little bit different for Sean. He wanted it. He was thinking, I said, cheap eats. He goes, well, that's mac and cheese, isn't it?
Oh, you got mac and cheese there.
We do.
The Cheetos mac and cheese.
We have the Cheetos one. People have been asking for it.
Now, if you have leftover chicken, put it in that.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Or in mac and beef.
Beef into it.
Yeah, that's it. So we've got the Cheetos bold and cheesy, which is original. We got the jalapeno one, and we've got
the flaming hot.
Flaming hot. Be careful.
Yeah.
Do you know there's kids every year at home that have hospital admissions for eating too many flaming hots? We all believe it. Now we finally made some time, Phil.
Oh, we did.
We did. We've got customer
feedback.
Okay,
we got one here from Liz J. But he's a lengthy.
Well, Liz,
you must be saying all good things about me.
Yes. Well, let's just see. Now, Liz is lovely. She has been listening to us since the beginning. Now, she is talking about she's trying to get back to the U.S. and it's a bit hard trying to figure out what you need, what you don't need. It changes every week. So she has managed to get on Air New Zealand, and to quote her, anyone who has experienced Air New Zealand's business class seat in the Boeing 7879, a true lay flat bed, will never fly on another airline when crossing the Pacific. The food was quite acceptable, and the service from the attendants was great, which one day I would love to do that. This all came from, she had a really terrible flight years ago where it took her, I think she says 30 hours to get from Melbourne to LAX because flights were canceled and it was a nightmare. And
I think we've all been on one of those.
Oh God, have we ever? I got to do that with 23-month-old. That was so fun.
We had one flight. We left. I think we left out of Sydney. Yeah. Sydney, and we get up in the air and getting into cruising altitude. All of a sudden, I said, "I think we're turning around." And we had the announcement, "We are turning around," and we came back down. Some lady got up out of a seat and broke a hip.
Oh my God, that was so rude of her.
But couldn't she? Give her some pain. Give her some more vodka. Let us sit there.
Yeah, she'll be right. Is there a doctor around? We'll just sit. Nah, that didn't work. Yeah, mine was. And then in LAX, I had to get from one side to the other. The lifts weren't working. And I had a child in a stroller and I had to get downstairs. It was so fun. So also, she has a really great story. Because of a change from SFO to LAX, I had to have my check-in bag weighed again. It was about 1 pound over. So I took out the 750-gram jar of Vegemite and put it in my carry-on bag. Ha! Did you know Vegemite is a gel?
Yeah.
I do now.
Yeah, gel. I got to try that.
And with you, Phil.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about, we had a little stumble over celiac the other week.
Oh,
yes. She says, I too have stumbled over celiac while reading a newspaper article on radio. And I pronounced it Coelac.
Coelac.
Of course, it is spelled wrong. It is pronounced seal, S-E-A-L. E, capital E, and then A-K, and should be spelled more like it's pronounced. I assume it's one of those Latin C pronounced like S words, like Caesar. It is.
Maybe.
So, you don't have to argue. You're not the only one.
We got Muffy.
Muffy.
He's talking about pasta here.
Well, this kind of fits in with our theme today, because and she's gone back to one pot meals and things. I would like to share my super fast one pot go-to pasta recipe with y'all. I created this out of necessity when house sitting for my aunt and uncle prior to doing grocery shopping. After scrounging through what was left in their fridge and pantry, I found some bow tie pasta, but you can use whatever, sun-dried tomato strips, pickled hot chili peppers, use mild if you prefer, or leave them out, salami, butter, and some vintage cheese.
There you go.
I like where she's going.
You can taste it already.
Yeah, you can. You can smell it.
That's the difference. That's why makes people that like to cook, they could taste it before you even make it.
That's perfectly put. So cook the pasta until it's just al dente. Drain. You may want to keep a cup of the pasta water just in case it's a little dry. Set to the side. In the same pot, throw in some butter, some sun-dried tomatoes, some of the oil, chopped pickled chili peppers, salami sliced into strips, just to taste, and heat until the salami just starts to get a little color. Return the pasta to the pot. Stir through until warmed again. Serve with crumbled vintage cheese and cracked black pepper.
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
See? Very good.
Yeah.
Just finding something and just ingenuity and putting it all together. And again, matching the flavors.
And that's it.
The cheese and the peppers, that's like just goes.
I'm very
and
hungry.
The salami goes with the cheese. And
we have no snacks tonight, and I'm sad about that. Now, Neil, who's been with us since the beginning as well, he has a few things, and he loved listening to the podcast with Anna today. And he said it's good to hear from an employee of USA Foods.
A happy one, too.
The good thing about having her there, Neil, it's contagious. I wanted to ask, will USA Foods upload videos on YouTube so we can see how the store is and also see your faces? I hope you don't mind me asking. Well, I was talking to Anna. We don't mind you asking at all. Get on our Instagram, because Anna's going to be putting up little clips of us doing the pod.
But he's going to want to see what Anna looks like, so we have to do a clip of Anna.
We have to do that too. Now, his comment on airline food is his favorite, would have been from Singapore Airlines. His food is always wonderful. Yep. And he will be buying coffee cakes when he's back in the store.
Yeah, and they just came in, so they're nice and fresh.
Yum. Now, Mom's going to adopt Anna. She loved that show. Oh. That's my mom's feedback as well. And her favorite food, she couldn't believe on Ansett, the first time she flew here, they actually made her an omelet. Like, as in, like, they gave her a nice omelet breakfast. Right. But she was flying, like, Sydney to Melbourne. She goes, all that effort for just that.
Oh, yeah. They used to give you hot meals Sydney to Melbourne.
Remember? Yeah.
So I remember that.
She said, it's so nice. I'm like, they're out of business now. But
no, but even all of them did. But they got away with that. So, personal best, this is your turn this week.
Oh, well, I think it's USA Foods' turn, because now all of a sudden we're yelling at coffee's on.
I always get there too late.
Well, I'll make you some new. You just tell me.
But I got to bring milk in. Okay. Next week.
Yes, and you get fussy about when you want to have your coffee and when you don't.
Yeah, I know. I
try,
just a pain in the rear end.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. You still want to say it. Being nice.
No one has ever accused me of being nice. So what we have is, remember in the good old days where Juan Valdez would be walking around with his donkey?
Yeah. He's on the packet.
And he's on the packet. So we've got Juan Valdez Colombian coffee. So there are 4 varieties. We've got a gourmet selection, so 100% organic. Mm-hmm. We have a Balicido. We have one that's good for espresso. And we have a balanced fuerte one. And we've tried these 2. So we've tried the Balicido and the espresso. And we're going through 2 pots of coffee a day some days.
Wow.
And we don't usually do that. And one of Maddie, who has not worked she had uni and came back to work, and I said, oh,
she's a coffee freak.
She is. And I said, the Juan Valdez is back. She goes, ooh.
And so they ground coffee, the old style. And just for our Jewish friends, it's kosher too.
Oh, fantastic.
There you go. I didn't know Juan Valdez was Jewish. Anyway.
You can't tell.
So quickly with the nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
So my nugget, I copied a little bit of yours.
That's
okay. And I talked about it before. It's instant mashed potatoes, the flake stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's good to make a soup. And when Jeanette was pregnant, that's all she ate was my potato soup that I made from instant mashed potatoes, just adding more milk and butter into it until it came the consistency of a soup.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
And it's that simple and a little flavoring. And again for a thickener. But that's my nugget.
Yes, and you can thicken soups and stews and anything with it. Mm-hmm. I've actually used, if I can jump on that nugget briefly, if I've oversalted something. and the consistency is thick anyway. I've added some potato in there to
take the saltiness out
a little bit. Sometimes if you don't go too far, it'll work.
Yeah, sometimes nothing works.
That's right. Sometimes you have to start again.
Yes.
Now, my knowledge nugget is a simple white sauce. So like making rice, I think everyone should know how to do this, because you can make scalloped potatoes, you can make mac and cheese, you can make
cauliflower white sauce,
all of that stuff. So you can use it as a base for a lot of things. So, and I do it by look. So 2 tablespoons about of butter, melt that down, a bit 2 tablespoons of flour. The important thing is to cook that for about 2 minutes.
Making the roux.
So you want it to change color and not smell
burnt.
Yes. It'll be kind of nutty. And then you slowly whisk in, depending how thick or thin you want it. I do about 1.5 cups of milk at first. And then you kind of keep stirring it around and cook it through about 10 minutes. You can add more milk if you need to.
Because it's going to keep on thickening.
That's exactly right. And with that, salt, pepper, and then you can do, the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
If you want to make cheese sauce, just a couple of hands.
Cheese in it.
Everything.
Just keep on stirring it, and
Yeah, and see, when I've talked about being a kid and being sick, and my mom would make cream tuna on toast, that is it. It's tuna on toast with white sauce over the top and lots of salt and pepper.
Okay, now we got Goss.
We do have the Goss.
Wow. Okay. Wow. This one's been all over the TV.
Yes.
About Kohl's and their drone that's going to go out to 250. The most popular grocery items are going to be sent by a drone and dropped somewhere.
Well, yes. Now, hopefully dropped in the right place. And so they're partnering with a global on-demand drone delivery service called Wing. And Canberra will be the first to pilot the new technology with delivery in minutes. The delivery pilot will offer the range, and they order via the Wing app. Upon arrival, the drone, it hovers in the air, freaking out the animals in the neighborhood, and slowly lowers the package to the ground at the customer's delivery location.
Now, there was I don't know if it's not Wing, but there was a company in the U.S. They were doing like a UPS truck, and like part of the roof has a big sunroof.
Right.
And they'll have a number of drones in there. They'll go into like a block, and they might have 4 deliveries, and the drones just take off with them, and the truck stays there, and it comes back to the truck.
That's sort of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I like people having jobs and doing things. I like that. But the cool factor is high.
Okay, so, and now we got, I'll come up. I got 2 on Goss, but I'm going to say 1 till next week because it's long.
Okay.
And that's Martha Stewart.
Oh, okay. Oh, now I have to wait till next week too, because I said don't tell me.
But the other one is a local one, Di Bartoli. And I was, and how do you pronounce it in Aussie?
Debortoli.
Yeah. And because Di Bartoli is spelled D, capital D-E, capital B, okay, is Di Bartoli in Italian. Okay.
Like the owner of the 49ers.
Right. Like the owner of the 49ers, right? They have a wood-fired Cab Sav and a wood-fired Shiraz.
Ooh.
Okay. And then on top of that, now I don't like giving out other competitive products. Okay. But they have a special going on. That's what caught me. I got the email on it at Tasman Meats.
Oh, yep.
And if you buy a bottle of one of each of those or 2 bottles, you get a free bottle of their Di Bartoli barbecue sauce that is made with the wine. Now, to me, this is the first barbecue sauce made with wine.
I have never seen one before.
Well,
that sounds good.
Now you got to go find it. But it is at Tasman Meats, and I think it's a great idea. I don't know how it's going to taste, but I would say it would taste quite nice.
I would think so too.
Because when you cook stews and stuff with wine,
it's so much better.
Yeah.
So, and you can also pick up some of those.
It just gives it that nice, a different fragrance.
Yeah.
And we'll have to find out.
Yeah, you get a good piece of inexpensive chuck and make stew for the weekend.
But I give a thumbs up for their initiative on doing the wood fire. I don't know what they're doing with the wood fire. Maybe they wood fire the cask that they put the wine into first.
Smoky.
To make it a bit smoky.
Now, do you need to call them to tell them how to say their name correctly?
No, I'm sure that because of all the Australian announcers who are not Italian, that's how they pronounce it. You ain't got to get away.
It got lost. It got lost in generations. Yeah. I understand. It's sad, Phil.
Okay, so next week's show.
Yes?
Speaking of Martha Stewart, we're going to be talking about first ladies.
First ladies.
And she's the first lady of cooking.
She is. There we go.
She might have good to the Christmas parade, Christmas at the White House.
Yeah. Christmas at San Quentin. Yeah.
She was in the fancy one.
Oh, yeah.
She crocheted while she was in there. But, you know, she could be friends with Snoop Dogg now. Like, there's no telling.
Yeah.
So, yes, we're going to be talking about a few interesting things, some recipes, some favorite foods, all those sort of things.
Yep. And I'll sign off from Eric McAdams. Who's Eric McAdams? You have any idea?
No, but he spells Eric with 2 R's.
Yeah. So anyway, if you keep good food in your fridge, you will eat good food. Oh, that's pretty common. Yeah. Unless you keep it in there too long. Then you get sludge.
And then you got sludge. And we don't want to talk about that.
Okay. So we'll be back next week with the first ladies. There you go. And that's it for
See
now.
you next week.
Bye.
I love my barbecue. Once you find a love like mine, you know that love is true. Understand, I'm just a man with a pork fat baby back blues. Yeah, understand, I'm still your man with a pork fat baby back blues.